Vyasadupina Shri Guru Gaur Gandharva Govindascha Ganaisaha Jayanti Bhattakascha Sarvesham Gurunartino. So we are continuing with Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita on this fine morning at our Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math's West London chapter. And we are hearing about the trunk, branches and sub-branches of the Chaitanya tree. And yesterday we concluded with hearing about the glories of Raghunath Das Goswami, right? And Raghunath, he's very important for us. He's known as the Prayojan Acharya, right? So you been hearing these terms repeatedly, right? Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. And so it's also considered that each of these principles were expounded upon particularly by one of the 6 Goswamis. So Raghunath Das Goswami is known as the Prayojan Acharya, the Acharya or Acharya who gave more insight into the goal. Right? Wow, it's made me realize now I've been out of Bengal for so long because I've been saying Acharya, but I always used to say Acharya before. So about what is our ideal, right? That has been expounded upon the most by Raghunath. What is the goal? And one thing in particular, in this regard, that is significant is that he emphasizes the importance of Srimati Radharani, and he expresses the deepest aspiration for the service of Srimati Radharani, which ultimately is the highest end of our line. Right? The focus shifts, more spotlight on Radharani, Shri Radha, rather than Krishna. So Raghunath has expressed that feeling the most. And then Sanatana Goswami is known as the Acharya of Sambandha Gyan, knowledge of what is what. And then you see later in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Mahaprabhu's instructions to Sanatana, they discuss extensively Sambandha Gyan. Now, what is the true nature of the soul, the jiva? What is the true nature of this environment? What is the nature? And there's kind of like a geographical map of reality that is given. All the playing the different universes, different expansions of the Lord, and all of these things. Sanatana Goswami has discussed that. And then Rupa Goswami is known as the Acharya of Abhideya. Abhideya Tattva. Tattva is truth, more or less. That's how we usually translate it. Abhideya Tattva. So Abhideya is the path, the practice. And so what is that? That is Bhakti, devotion. And so the practice of pure devotion, that has been discussed most extensively in the writings of Rupa Goswami. So now coming back to Raghunath, who we were just hearing about, very, very important person for us. And we heard yesterday how he would engage in devotional service for more than 22 and a half hours every day. He would sleep for less than 2 hours. He would regularly offer 1,000 obeisances to the Lord, chant at least 100,000 holy names, and offer obeisances to 2,000 Vaishnavas as a daily duty.
Was that just the start of his day?
I don't know. Then what did he do after that? It's incredible. He would barely sleep. And some days he couldn't even sleep as 2 hours or an hour and a half. So this is where we ended yesterday. Okay, we'll continue with our reading. So Raghunath Das Goswami, very important for us. Shri Gopal Bhatta Ek Shaka Sarvatam Rupa Sanatan Sange Jai Premalapan. Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, the 47th branch, was one of the great and exalted branches of the tree. He always engaged in discourses about love of Godhead in the company of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami, we don't hear so much about him, but he was also one of the 6 Goswamis, so associating closely with Rupa and Sanatan and Jiva. He also made some literary contribution. He came from a high Brahmin line, and actually his family, they were what are known as Sri Vaishnavas. That means they worship. Sri is a name for Lakshmi, Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune. So they're worshippers of Lakshmi Narayan, more than Krishna. And so originally he comes from this line. And when Mahaprabhu was traveling in South India at one time, he met them, and they lived in South India. And for 4 months, because during the rainy season of about 4 months, sannyasis would traditionally stay in one place. So Mahaprabhu stayed at their home, their family home, for these 4 months. And so he, developed this relationship with his father. Gopal Bhatta was younger, but his father, Venkata Bhatta, had these philosophical discussions with Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu convinced him of the, supremacy of Krishna. And then Gopal Bhatta, I don't know how old he could have been, a teenager or something. He was there. And then later he came, he surrendered to Mahaprabhu, and he came to live in Vrindavan with the other Goswamis. I'm not sure how, maybe he would have been a young man, but may have been a teenager. Okay. Shankararanya Charja Vikeka Shaka Mukunda Kashinath Rudra Upashakaleka. The Acharya Shankararanya was considered the 48th branch of the original tree. From him proceeded the sub-branches known as Mukunda, Kashinath, and Rudra. Srinath Pandit Prabhu Kripar Bhajan Jai Krishna Seva Deki Vashachi Bhuvan. Srinath Pandit, the 49th branch, was the beloved recipient of all the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone in the 3 worlds was astonished to see how he worshipped Lord Krishna. Jagannath Acharya Prabhu Priya Das Prabhu Agyate Teo Koilo Gangavash. Jagannath Acharya, the 50th branch of the Chaitanya tree, was an extremely dear servant of the Lord, by whose order he decided to live on the bank of the Ganges. Krishna Das Vaidya Pandit Chekar Kavi Chanjar Kirtaniya Shashtivar. The 51st branch of the Chaitanya tree was Krishna Das Vaidya. The 52nd was Pandit Shekhar. The 53rd was Kavi Chandra, and the 54th was Shashtivar, who was a great Sankirtan performer. Srinath Mishra, Shubhananda, Shri Ramishan, Shri Nidhi, Shri Gopikanta, Mishra Bhagavam. The 55th branch was Srinath Mishra, 56 Shubhananda, then Shri Ram, then Ishan, Shri Nidhi, Shri Gopikanta, and then bringing us up to the 61st, Mishra Bhagavan. Subudhi Mishra, Hridayananda, Kamal Nayan, Mahesh Pandit Chika, Shri Madhusudan. These are all names. I don't think we need to read the translation. Purushottam, Shri Galim, Jagannatha Das, Shri Chandrasekhar Vaidya Dvija Haridas, Ramadas Kavi Chandra Shri Gopala Das, Bhagavatacharya Thakur Saranga Das, Jagannath Tirtha Vipra Shri Janakinath, Gopalacharya Vipra Vaninath. These are all names coming up to 81, 81st. Govinda Madhava Vasudev Tina Bai, Jasabha Kirtane Nache Chaitanya Nitai. The three brothers Govinda, Madhava and Vasudev were the 82nd, 83rd, 84th branches. Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda used to dance in their kirtan performances. Ramadas Sabiram Sakya Prema Rasi, Shola Sange Kashta Tuli Jekori Lovan Vashi. Ramdas Abhiram was fully absorbed in the mellow of friendship, Sakya Rash. He made a flute of a bamboo stick with 16 knots. Prabhu Agyay Nityananda Gore Cholila, Tar Sange Tinjan Prabhu Agyayla. By the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 3 devotees accompanied Lord Nityananda Prabhu when he returned to Bengal to preach. Ramdas Madhavar Vasudeva Ghosh, Prabhu Sange Rohe Govinda Paya Santosh. These 3 were Ramdas, Madhava Ghosh and Vasudev Ghosh. Govinda Ghosh, however, remained with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri and thus felt great satisfaction. Bhagavatacharya Chiranjeev Shri Raghunandan, Madhavacharya Kamalakanta Shri Jadu Nandan. All names: Mahakripa Pacha Prabhu Jagai Madai, Patit Pavan Amir Shaki Duibai. Jagai and Madai, the 89th and 90th branches of the tree, were the greatest recipients of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. These 2 brothers were the witnesses who proved that Lord Chaitanya was rightly named Patit Pavam, the deliverer of the fallen souls. Koda Deshe Bhakta Koilo Sanke Pakatan, Ananta Chaitanya Bhaktan Ajay Ganan. I have given a brief description of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya in Bengal. Actually, his devotees are innumerable. Nilachale sa Bhakta Prabhu Sange, Duistane Prabhu Seva Koilona Narange. I have especially mentioned all these devotees because they accompanied Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Bengal and Orissa and served him in many ways. Keva Nilachale Prabhu Jeje Bhakta Gan, Sankepe Koriye Kichu Se Sab Gatan. Let me briefly describe some of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. So I think we were hearing primarily the Bengali Vaishnavas, and now we'll hear devotees in Puri, Jagannath Puri. Nilachale Prabhu Sange Jata Bhakta Gan, Sabhatyaka Prabhu Marma Duijan, Paramananda Puriyar Sarup Damodar. These are all names. Gadadhar Jagadananda, Shankara Krishna, Damodar Pandit, Thakur Haridas, Raghunatha Vaidya, Raghunatha Das. So these are all devotees who accompanied the Lord in Jagannath Puri. Okay, not necessarily originally from Puri, but they stayed with him. They were his associates in Puri. Ityadik Purva. You understand Puri by now? That's where this famous Jagannath temple is. Yeah. So that was where Mahaprabhu spent his... Mahaprabhu was in this world for 48 years. The first 24 was in Navadvip as a householder. And then the second 24 years, he was based in Puri. And the first 12 of those, he was traveling, so he was in and out of Puri, traveled through different parts of India. And then the last 12, he withdrew from his public role as a preacher, and he entered into this very internal state of experiencing the mood of Srimati Radharani and separation from Krishna. So all these devotees were associates of the Lord from the very beginning, and when the Lord took up residence in Jagannath Puri, they remained there to serve him faithfully. And it was actually the request of his mother, Vishakha Devi, that he stay there, because Puri and Navadvip, they're not so far from each other. I mean, you can get a train 8 hours, I mean, considering how big India is, it's not so big. It would be a 10-day, pilgrimage, or maybe, more than that, maybe more 2 weeks, because they would go walking, maybe more 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, walking. And so it was a regular route. Devotees from Navadvip would go and make pilgrimage to Puri to have darshan of Jagannath and so on. So it was a route, So Sachi, she thought, if my beloved Nimai, my son, is staying there, then it will be easier for me to get news of him. So it was her request that because the sannyasis, they cannot remain in their hometown, in their place of birth, because it's a place of great attachment, right? So Mahaprabhu told her, wherever you tell me, I will stay there. So she requested that he stay there. So that was how it happened. And then every year, there would be a few hundred Vaishnavas who would travel from Navadvip and the surrounding areas to go and meet with Mahaprabhu in Puri. And we hear some beautiful descriptions of that. 200 Mahabhagavats. 200 pure devotees all coming to see Mahaprabhu. It's an astonishing sight. Vaishnavagan. They don't do that S plural thing that we do. But they might say Gan means persons, plural, so Vaishnavagan. We have in that song that we sing, Thakura Vaishnava Gan. Right, so it's referring to all the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavagan. But we usually say Vaishnavagan. Not all Bengalis speak like that. Gurudev, because Gurudev's trained in Sanskrit. So his Bengali, it leans to the Sanskrit side. Not always. I think he seems to go kind of back and forth a little bit. But some words he'll pronounce more Bengali, and others will be more Sanskrit. But simple village people especially, it's very pronounced, Yeah, very charming. And they have this head nod thing that they do. It's I've met the Indian head nod, it's a thing. And it means everything. It means yes, it means no, it means how are you. It's very curious. I sat in an airport once, and this was a few months ago, it was at Dublin airport. And there I was just sitting waiting for the flight. Jai Lavanya Didi. Yes.
I know it's really awful. You only have one person with you, but I need someone to help me with the market.
Oh, okay. Everyone is Vishram. Everyone is resting.
I need it for
Can you wait 5 minutes and we'll just finish? Because we're almost done, yeah. But I just happened to be sitting there. There are these two Indians. They didn't know each other. And they were totally different. like one was an older woman, another he was like a young man in his 20s or early 30s. It was like total different like social background and demographic, and they didn't know each other, and they just like, gravitated towards each other. It was like they had this universal language they were speaking, and all these like these head nods that they do, and it was so cool to watch them.
You didn't hear anything that was exchanged?
They were speaking English. They were speaking English. Actually, because of the British Raj, right? The British rule in India, English is quite widely spoken. And anyone, especially anyone educated, they all speak English. And actually, their English, their Hindi or Bengali is peppered with English. Like if you hear most of the time, especially an educated Indian person, if you hear them speaking to each other, like 30% will be English words. So English is very pervasive there. But it's very charming, like their manner of speaking and their movements. And okay, we'll end there. There's some seva to be done, needed seva. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai, Shri Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai. Okay, we need someone to turn off the mic, the camera here. Saraswati Didi, are you there? I don't know how to do it. Everyone's out today.
For now, we exchange glances.
Can you give a shout to someone?
Yeah.
Or maybe Lavanya knows. Or Krishna Gopal, do you know how to turn it off?
Yeah, there's left. There are two buttons. The one that's on the one that's on the bottom. You press the one that's on top, and then you press.
If you press the wrong one, we're all gonna blow up.
You found it?
Oh, the one on the left?
Yeah,
This
there's this box. No, there's this box.
Yeah, the one with the two blue lights.
Yeah. So there's like
Press
two
the off button.
buttons on the left.
The off one?
You see, there's the off one, and then there's the lower one, right?
I click the lower one.
No, you click the off one, and then you click the lower one.